So there's a new sheriff in town, and Trump is ushering in a new era at the DOJ, promising to turn the page on 4 long years of corruption and weaponization. During his first visit to DOJ as president, he said this.
We're turning the page on 4 long years of corruption, weaponization, and surrender to violent criminals, and we're restoring fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. There could be no more heinous betrayal of American values than to use the law to terrorize the innocent and reward the wicked. And it's exactly what you saw with Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and their cronies to do the building of the last 4 years. They imported illegal alien murderers, drug dealers, and child predators from all over the world to come into our country while putting elderly Christians and pro-life activists on trial for singing hymns and for saying prayers. We will restore the scales of justice in America, and we will ensure that such abuses never happen again in our country.
Go ahead.
So it was just an extraordinary speech yesterday to watch that and to think about. It was just a few months ago that guy was being pursued at all levels out of that building, and now he's come back as president. And his picture, not his mugshot this time, but his picture hangs on the wall.
You know what's funny? Earlier in the show, you referenced Obama in 2015. The idea that really what we believe happened is the Obama admin spied on Trump.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of evidence to show that. But go back even further than that. You had the IRS scandal.
Yeah,
you had the NSA scandal. You had so many things under Obama where he weaponized different parts of the government, both politically and in a partisan way. And, you know, you see memes all the time. You know, Obama's faced no scandals. You even had Fast and Furious. People died because of this. And it's this idea that Democrats have kind of ran from, they spit in your face and tell you it's raining. And for some reason, the American people will continue to buy at least long enough to elect Joe Biden. But I think this is the first time that it's no longer a political argument. It's no longer look what they did and vote for me. This is no, we're not going to let them do it anymore. We're going to change how it works.
Yeah, we need to, because Donald Trump's such a unique figure. He laid out all the things that happened to him in a beautiful way last night. I mean, starting with the spying all the way to, the FBI rummaging through his wife's, panty drawer. I mean, it was absolutely egregious. But he is a singular figure that could withstand the weight of this in a way that I think most can't. And I think this is good for democracy that he says we're going to change the system. I'm bringing in Kash Patel. I'm bringing in Dan Bongino, two of the people who understand how the justice system was weaponized more than anybody else. It's important because regular, normal people who aren't Donald Trump will go, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to run because I'm going to get crushed.
Yeah.
By the way, here's Alina Habba explaining, I think, in a really great way as well, that this was third world stuff. If you're a Hispanic American, you saw this stuff. If you're an immigrant here from Africa, you saw that stuff happening in your own country. Watch.
Spent the last 4 years, better or worse, in court systems that were weaponized by that exact building. Not just that building, by the way, also the White House in the last administration. So it was a very important message. It was something that was very meaningful to him, to the American people. We no longer want a justice system off taxpayer dollars that hits people that they can't fight fair and square because of their political sides, because of their views. We are going to fix this. We are not going to allow anybody to do this to any Americans again. They have to spend the money the right way. Taxpayers didn't ask for this. We're not a third world country. We're America. We have a constitution. We have laws, and we have to follow them.
And she also pointed out that sitting in that room in DOJ were people like herself and others who also had been targeted by the previous administration. And man, what a dramatic change it is. And it's not just moving chess pieces on a chessboard. They're also talking about actual policy things. And among the things that Donald Trump talks about wanting to do for the new Department of Justice priorities, he wants to end the weaponization of the DOJ, but he also wants to return DOJ to what its original mission is, which is to enforce the law and to attack lawlessness, things like open borders and going after DEI programs that are based on basically, it's like legalized racism, which is completely anathema to America.
Yeah, they've already started that. I believe there's some lawsuits right now that they're looking at with some of the universities.
It's about time.
It's about time. You know, one of the things that I wish was on that list is find the pipe bomber. I think you find the pipe bomber, you pull that thread. All of a sudden, from January 6th, let's find out if the DOJ and the FBI can find the pipe bomber. Everything will unravel.
It shouldn't be partisan to say, okay, we know there were, I think it was 30 some odd FBI either informants or associates in that crowd. Like, at least an investigation on how many of them were told to be there and what they were told to do, or, you know, those kinds of, that part of that is a story that nobody else will talk about other than this network and folks in the Trump administration, because most Republicans in office just want to wash their hands of it and keep moving forward. And it is important because it is another way that the government told us, don't worry about your cities burning, don't worry about the federal buildings in your town burning, but worry a lot about what happened on January 6th.
It's not enough, Joey, to like turn the page. We have to actually hold people accountable for what they did, because unless there were consequences, whether it's Fauci or the pipe bomber or you know, any of these other things that happened, the people who burned their phone, was it Wiseman? They all suddenly burned their phones during the investigation. All of these things that happened, if they are not held accountable, it will happen again.
What's great about it is he's not going after people that wronged him. He's changing a system so they can't wrong the next guy.
The next person.
They're not going to reform themselves.
About paying it forward for the next election.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.